Hey everyone, today I'm going to be discussing some of the licenses I would like to see in Dead by Daylight. This is of course just my own preferences. I'm going to be going for some kind of weird ones, so be sure to drop your own license picks down below. Let's get into it. Until Dawn is my first pick, and one which I just think would be so perfect for Dead by Daylight. First off, it's a video game, which I think already makes it a better translation into DBD. Second, it has a similar survival feel to the gameplay and story. And finally, it has great characters and a cool and compelling antagonist, or killer basically. Essentially, there's a group of friends, they meet up in a lodge up a mountain, where it's all snowy and spooky, and they're hunted by wendigos. The main wendigo that hunts them is a friend of theirs that went missing the year prior and is assumed dead. She had run off into the woods after the friend group pulled a prank, where she then falls off a cliff edge. Her death leaves the friend group to have lots of infighting and varying degrees of guilt. Throughout the game, the wendigos hunt the different characters down, and based on your decisions, some characters die and some survive. Or they all live or all die. The big revelation of the game is discovering that the wendigo hunting them is their friend. This feels like a perfect game to translate over, which fits in really well with DBD's premise, what with having many morally grey survivor characters and often tragic and manipulated or misguided killers. The best survivor picks I think would be Sam Giddings, Mike Monroe, or Ashley Brown, as I think they will have a good balance of having their survival moments in the game and retaining a clear goal or issue to overcome. The killer could be the wendigo, which I really think has so many possibilities for powers and such. In the game, they are these fast-moving, spindly creatures who detect where the different survivors are based on movement. These wendigos really though are characters as much as they are creatures or monsters. There's a lot of tragedy to them, as we know that they used to be human. There's a ton of freedom to interpret the wendigos themselves also in terms of powers and abilities. The Walking Dead is a property I would love to see get added, and one that I think fits in really well, especially on the survivor side of things. I do also think that this wouldn't work too well as a full chapter, mainly because there's no obvious killer to support the chapter. Even some of the more prominent villains in the series like Negan or the Governor don't fit too well. Potentially we could have a Whisperer character like Beta in the game. The Whisperers are basically this group that wear the skin of zombies to hide among them and guide their herds. This could be adapted maybe to have some kind of zombie command for the killer, allowing you to have more control over them or something. I think the ideal direction to go in for this though would be to have a similar situation to that of Crypt TV, where some skins are brought into the game and placed on already existing characters. I say this for the fact that there's a few current characters that align well to Walking Dead characters, and also I don't think there's any reason to add more perks to the pool if we don't need to, so I personally think this is the better route to go in. If we did get a similar Crypt TV situation and 3 characters got brought over as legendary skins, I think the best picks would be Rick Grimes, of course, potentially as a skin for Dwight, as the leader character, Daryl Dixon, as potentially a Jake skin due to the survivalist aspect, and then for female characters I think the best 2 picks would be Michonne and Maggie. All of these characters being long-time series regulars with compelling backstories that could fit into Dead by Daylight in quite interesting ways. Okay, next up is Resident Evil. This one of course is already in the game, but I think it'd be great to have a bit of a revisit, as I think Resident Evil has more to offer. The nature of Chapter 20, the Resident Evil chapter, was largely looking at the game and its legacy, I guess, focusing on iconic characters for the 25-year anniversary. It would be really great to revisit Resident Evil and take some characters from the newer games, specifically the ones who were part of the soft reboot or RE7 and 8. There's quite a bit of potential for good characters from these newer games that translate well into DBD. For a survivor character, the obvious choice would be to bring in Ethan Winters. However, potentially due to his lack of face, he wouldn't be able to be acquired. Although him as a survivor fits perfectly, especially his Resident Evil 7 iteration, which is very much just a terrified guy looking for his wife. I do think though that a killer-only license for another Resident Evil chapter or paragraph would be fine. There's a bunch of opportunities in characters from Village. My top picks from that game being Lady Dimitrescu and Heisenberg. Lady Dimitrescu has potential to be quite unique and provide a good means to explore a vampire character who's already set up and established as one. She's also gained quite a substantial amount of popularity since the release of Village. Heisenberg also has quite a unique look, and there's lots to be done with his metal manipulation abilities. Also, he already has the perfect weapon ready to go. From Resident Evil 7, I think basically any member of the Baker family would work well as a killer character. Lucas could have some kind of trap, Marguerite could have a speedier movement mechanic with her crab walk thing, and maybe a trap element also, planting her bug hives. Jack is likely the best fit out of them. His power could center around the mold, which has lots of potential for behavior to adapt into the game in basically any way they want. The Purge is a weird one, but the route I'm going down for this one is also a little more unique. As we've only really had one half licensed, half original killer, it'd be great to see another. The Purge is a license they could do this with, by building a survivor and killer character from the ground up that is from the Purge universe. If you didn't know, the premise of the Purge is essentially that one night a year, all laws are gone and crimes cannot be punished, allowing people to steal, kill, and more without consequence. This is done under the belief that having this one night each year lowers crime rates considerably. The Purge as a series though has always felt very grounded and gritty, and I think characters with the backstories from the Purge universe would be very interesting to explore in the context of DBD. The films and series are largely about morality and human nature, and how these things are affected or changed when the generally agreed upon societal rules are dropped for a night. That's quite a translatable thing for Dead by Daylight, where you have a group of people, mainly strangers to one another, surviving against typically corrupted human threats. So yeah, I think some kind of Purge adaptation could be cool if done right. My only issue with this is that the character could look a little too similar to someone like the Legion. Having the freedom of an established universe, yet getting to build up new characters, I think could work really well. If they did go for a Purge license and they had to pick out some characters from the series itself, I'd personally say they should aim for the characters from the TV series, which I actually think was one of the better done Purge properties. The survivor they could bring could potentially be any of the main series 2 characters, although I think either Ryan Grant or Esme Kimona would be the best picks. Ryan is a character who spent his time planning an elaborate heist to execute on Purge Night. Esme is a character who works for the NFFA, who are basically the universe's new American government. Esme's story focuses on exposing them and Purge Night itself. These 2 characters are actually very compelling, and their stories could coincide well with getting taken into the realm. The killer we could have could be someone like Ben Gardner, also known as the Campus Killer. He has quite a good backstory, after nearly dying himself on Purge Night, killing his attacker in self-defense, and then taking up their mask and killing mantle himself, and making it somewhat famous as a purging mask. Yeah, that would be the direction I'd go in. My final pick for this list of 5 isn't really one, but I want to group 3 together as licenses I would like to see, but I'm personally not all too familiar with, but I like the idea of, and I think could work well in the game. These being Alien, It, and Friday the 13th. These are much more popular ones, all with characters who are quite iconic. Alien, I think it would be great to explore a less human character with the Xenomorph. This would be especially great as we are of course losing Stranger Things in November, so anyone who joins the game after then is not going to be able to purchase Demogorgon anymore. Xenomorph could be a great replacement as a humanoid alien that would likely have some kind of portal or like vent mechanic, as well as an extended lunge like Shred. There's also a cool route to go in by adding facehuggers as a trap of some sort. A space station map could work very well and could even be a great replacement for Hawkins Lab 2. Finally, Ellen Ripley could be brought along as the survivor. I know everyone loves this character a lot. For It, I'm partially interested in this as I would really like to see another character who rivals or threatens the entity to a degree, like Myers and Pyramid Head holding some control over their stay in the entity's realm. Pennywise could be a nice addition for this reason. He's also a very visually distinct character, who could once again have a bunch of different things as his power. There's really so many routes you could go in when adapting a character like that, especially because they're so powerful. An obvious one would be some kind of shape-shifting power or ability though. A sewer map could be interesting for this license too, or potentially an area in Derry. Survivors, I don't really know who it could be. It would likely have to be one of the adult versions of the kids though. There is quite a big cast to choose from, so it'd probably be a tough choice for the specific survivor character, but I'm sure any of them would be good picks. Finally, Friday the 13th, I would mainly just like to see for Jason. I would say he's the main famous slasher character missing from DBD's roster now, but due to licensing issues, it seems unlikely we will ever see him in the game. His visuals and general slasher role though are pretty much a perfect fit for DBD already, and could fit right in. Alright, well that's gonna do it. I do hope you enjoyed, and please do drop the licenses you'd like to see down below. Thanks, and goodbye.